Live from Springfield, Oregon, it's the Authentic Human Being Show, starring that master artful stalker, John Gregory Presco, otherwise known as Springfield Johnny. I submit for your edification the letter I received from my Muse, Rena Easton, about the 9th of December. That's page 1. Here's page 2. Here's page 3. You'll note the fine little, neat little lettering here. Each letter is written out. There's no longhand involved here. Here's 4. Page 4. That's the end of the letter, and then there's 1, 2, 3 poems that Rena Victoria Easton wrote out on Christmas Day. Now, this must have taken a long time for her to do this. And one of the things I thought about was, why is she, or wondered about, amongst the many things I've wondered about, this extraordinary, interesting, and beautiful young woman who's young, no longer beautiful, as she claims. She's 60 years old. But she might even be more interesting than when I knew her 44 years ago, when she was 18. Because she told the sheriff, and I find this so hard to believe, I mean, it makes me more enamored of her than probably anything that she's done. You know, because I really, really want to really know what makes her tick. Because she told the Deputy Sheriff, Dan Malin, that she wrote out this letter from memory. This is the letter that she sent me. She didn't have a copy of it. I don't think she even has a computer, or or a brother typewriter or anything. So she wrote this all in hand, sent this to me, and I didn't ask for this letter. I didn't even know if she was alive. She found my address and she mailed this to me. So she's presenting this to the deputy sheriff and saying, I, John Greg Presco, are stalking Rena Victoria Easton, and here's some of the evidence. And he hands him a duplicate of this letter. Not the original, the duplicate. That, according to the sheriff, and how is he going to know, she's duplicated, down to the last, cross T and dotted I. How's he going to know that, I mean, this is looking at some pretty shaky evidence here, isn't it? I mean, I find it shaky because it's kind of terrifying, It's very, very witchy. And this is what this whole thing has been like, the Salem witch trials, Because apparently Rena, not able to fathom all the nuances that she was able to pick up in my 4-page letter to her, began to suspect, I think, there were some dark forces within my letter that was generated on my computer and printed out and sent to her. So she went to this unnamed person, who I've got to assume is a woman, unless it was her minister, or evangelical counselor of some kind, or fellow witch, I think they did this on a full moon night, you know, Friday. I think, you know, end of December. So she reads, this unknown person reads my letter. And she confirms, according to Dan, Rena's suspicion that there was some very, very dangerous threats being directed away from the letter I wrote. Now this is where it really gets spooky. Dan has said that Rena tore up my letter. Apparently, when this woman confirmed, or this person, unnamed person, confirmed Rena's suspicions, she got very, very upset and tore up my letter. I mean, really tore the shit out of it, you know. And what I got from this, and you know, and of course I could not have recorded Dan's conversation without his permission. I wish I had asked him for permission, recorded it. Is that she felt betrayed after this woman gave her the correct interpretation. I mean, you know, I mean, I've got a blog with like 2,500 posts, you know. I get about 180 readers a day on the average. And I never had this reaction to anything I've written, and I've written some pretty out there things. This is a powerful, powerful reaction to my writing, which again is another compliment. It's another compliment. I mean, there are writers published writers out there who wish they could have got anything that resembles the reaction I got from Rena and this unnamed person. Yeah. I just can't grasp a mind like the one Rena has. She says she can memorize, she's got a million poems memorized, and she recites them all day while she's working out loud. She's a janitor. I guess she works up in an office building, you know, cleaning office buildings. And to, you know, to keep herself from getting bored, she recites poetry out loud. You know, what is that? You know, what in the world is, you know, there's nobody there listening to these poems. You know, this is like, you know, there's a, you know, the tree falling in the forest. Does it make a sound? Well, you know, she doesn't care. Well, that nobody's listening, and it's just all wasted, you know. What she says is, I use these recitals to gauge her well-being. And if she should miss a few words here and there through an 8-hour night or something, then she judges herself to not be up to snuff. Oh, excuse my word, but I can't use words like snuff anymore, you know, because I'm being watched. Dan says he's going to check out my blog to be sure I'm not threatening Miss Easton anymore, you know. Well, in defiance of that threat to spy on my blog in order to, you know, enhance the stalking charge against me, I'm wearing this hoodie, you know. Very, very dangerous thing to do when you're being watched. Suspected stalker, you know. And this might be the apparel, you know, the stalker. But then it may not be, you know. You know, you've seen me wearing my magician hats and my king's crown and all that stuff, and you know, all these crazy hats I have, you know. But I chose this one. See, it's a art statement. It's defiance, you know, in the eye of the roving Muse and her unnamed friend, you know. You know, I mean, how did Rena trust this person? Like, you know, she had this letter for like, you know, 6 days. Oh, you know, I don't know about this line. Looks like, you know, Satan's in there. Yeah, Satan. There's a Satan. You know? And I've got a clue, you know, when she says I'm a redneck, I can't believe it. What she's really saying is, I'm a Christian now, you know, i.e. an evangelical, you know, redneck, Baba, you know, salt of the earth, you know, that's where they all are, up in Montana, Idaho. All the white folks go up there to be the salt of the earth, and, you know, and work on their grand conspiracy involving Obama, you know, who's not a legitimate president, see, and he's really up to some very, very diabolical things that is aimed to get the white man and the white woman. They're rednecks, you know. So that's what they do. And I've been saying it for 27 years that this was going to turn into an epidemic of insanity, and I'm a victim of it. And we're going to talk about my daughter bonding with a redneck Tea Party Baba NASCAR race car driver, and how he very, very well might have wanted to throw me off a cliff, or get me down in a cave and throw me off to a hole down there. I've got video. You know, you didn't think the world of art was this dangerous, did you? There's peril out here. In the art world, like you've never known. So what I was trying to think of was dark shadows of the program in my last video. You know, like this is, you know, dark shadows. All the junkies back in the 70s would watch dark shadows. You know, they slam, you know, then sit back and watch, you know, Barnabas and all this intrigue, all this soap opera with these people with fangs and blood and, you know, hoodies and the whole thing. You know, they're stalking each other, you know, all over the place, you know. And there's been an epidemic of heroin users and meth users. And with the death of Hoffman, you know, the village, see, there's going to be a whole cultural movement around him. You know, because he was the world's greatest actor. Acting is part of the creative process and involves a mute. So he's going to become the Barnabas, the dead mutes for all these junkies who have always associated with the beats and the beatniks and the hippies. You know, in Venice there was a lot of heroin addiction. You know, a lot of beats and poets shooting up heroin. You know, and of course in the village in New York we had a lot of that. So, I don't know. I just can't. I can't grasp anybody being able to recall 8 pages of letters, 2 letters, 8 pages combined. I couldn't do it. You could put a gun to my head and say, "Okay, John, what's on page 1 here? See, tell me, or I'm going to shoot you." I say, "Well, I'm a dead man. Can I pray?" Well, Rena wasn't intimidated at all. Apparently, maybe she made her and her unnamed friend called it the sheriff, and you know, he's stalking me. Well, bring in some evidence. You know, 10 hours later, you know, they've been up all night, you know, half the day, you know, shh, you know. I mean, this is like the mind of the Krell in Forbidden Planet. You know, this is like super brain. You know? Superwoman back there. See, I knew she was Superwoman. I knew when she came in that dark doorway, and I could hardly look at her, because she was in a state of beauty and fear combined. She was very, very, very afraid. She was abandoned. Her boyfriend disappeared after these Muslim men chased him down the beach and beat him up. So there she is, 3 o'clock in the morning, and she has to make a choice to trust me walking down, you know, from the pier by myself. And she comes out, you know, this darker doorway, and boom, she's right there. I mean, you know, whoosh, you know, dark shadows, you know. like Barnabas's daughter, you know, whoosh, and she's just leaning over because she seems taller than me. I mean, you know, vampires can actually appear taller. They can make themselves bigger than they actually are. And she's like looking at me, dead in my eyes, going, "Can I walk with you?" And I just had to turn. I just couldn't. I couldn't look at her. She was so incredibly beautiful. I mean, she was beautiful just if she was normally, you know, sitting on a bus or something. You look at her, hey, that's a beautiful chick. But with her fear, see, with the addition of the fear and her survival mode, that I'm going to live no matter what. Look, see, that on a woman, a beautiful woman, is something to see. And every director that's ever made any movie, or any photographer, or any artist who's tried to capture that look, well, I had it right there. I had it right there 44 years ago in Venice Beach. I mean, I never will see a more beautiful woman than that moment when she asked if she could walk with me. And that's because she cannot ask anybody for help because of her abuse. Children make a vow to never ask anybody for help. I don't know where, see, that's what I don't understand. See, if she really felt like she was a peril, she would not be asking anybody for help. She would not be asking this unnamed person or the sheriff for help. So there's something else going on here. She's backing me off from something. And it might be, well, I might have to do something with the psychic realm. All of a sudden, because as I reacted to her letter I got, she reacted to my letter. All that transpired in the 44 years that we haven't been in touch with each other, and what was going on way back in 1970, all of a sudden that energy is back. You know, and she's feeling it, she's feeling me. You know, when I started this painting, she started visiting me. She would come down and lay next to me in my bed, you know, and sleep with me through the night. I jumped out of the bed the first time that this happened. I literally jumped out of the bed and my heart was beating. My God, you know, there she is. And then I'd go off to see a movie down the street here at the mall. She'd walk with me. I'd go shopping. There she'd be walking beside me, this beautiful 18-year-old girl from Nebraska who came up to me. You know, so I related a little of that, you know, in this letter I sent her. You know, there she is out on this lonely hill, you know, in this little trailer, and she's pretended that she's got a husband. She's made up this fantasy husband, and to keep me away, see, it's like putting a man's shoes out the door to tell intruders that, you know, there's a man in here. You know, well, there's no man in there because she's too afraid to be with a man. You know, too paranoid, you know, for what? A lot of reasons, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of meth going on in Montana. I hope she's not into that. And if you are, knock it off. Get a treatment. Stop playing spooky games. So, I don't know. It's like the gods and had to separate us. First, they brought us together. But I was looking down in the water that night, saying, where is she? And where's the love of my life? Where's my next muse? Because I lost Meryl. She said, no, I got another boyfriend, and I can't be your muse. So there I'm at the pier, looking down and say, where is she? Where's the love of my, where's my muse? 2 minutes later, I come by the door, whoosh. So, I'm smitten. And now it's like I'm more smitten because I want to be next to that big brain that can memorize all those poems. You know, I want to watch her read something and then memorize it. I just want to watch it. That's so important. With all the art history, all this history that I work on that's going on in my big brain, to be next to her, my muse, when she has this ability. My God, there's no, at the end of our days, can't think of anything more wonderful and more beautiful than this. Than to be with her, to play with her, to explore the world. Because we have 15 years, 17 years left of our life. She was 18 when I met her. There's another 18 years of beautiful wonderment that could be happening between her and I. And she cuts it off. It's a public castration, It's John the Baptist off with his head. It's Salome dancing for the head of John the Baptist. That's what's going on here. See, we used to go swimming in the Russian River. She wouldn't let me in the water with her. And I didn't like that. I was miffed. I'd love to be in the water with beautiful women, half-naked women in bikinis. I was born, I'm fifth generation California. Of course I want to be in the water with a beautiful, woman like Rena wearing a bikini. No, you're not coming in the water. Stay here on the beach. You're going to have to watch. Like all these other people, all the other guys and women, I mean, they don't, some of these guys would like take off the Rolex watch, and head in the water, Mildred, I'll be back in a second, and he dives in, and he's trying to, surface next to Rena, but she's been around that, she's way off there. He goes, "Where'd you go? What the hell? What is she, a mer witch or something?" I'd be laughing my ass off because more than one, it was like an Olympic sport. I'd give a hold at 8.9, but dive and surface 8.9. Now they couldn't get near her in the water. Nobody could. She was, a mermaid witch thing. Of course, watching her go into the water with that bikini, and it come out wet. I mean, everybody stalking her. People, timed this. People stopped what they were doing all over the Russian River Valley to, it's time for the Rena show. Down there at Monte Rio Beach, off they, go to watch this. It was a miracle. I mean, this is what people in California did. There's a whole cult around beautiful women in bikinis. See, the men with the peepers. I'm watching you. And she knows this. Her three sisters were models. One was Robert Vesco's mistress. She knows this. Yeah. You pick up magazines. There's her sister. Sisters modeling. So I write a letter, and it's like, I get a call from the sheriff, your days of doing this, buddy, are over. No writing letters either. Shame on you, So, anyway, I could, I left you with a cliffhanger here with this rock, that I fell on, the sea lions down there, I'm hanging on, they were a cliffhanger, my whole life is a cliffhanger. So there I am, bleeding, blood rolling down the rock. I can't move, I'm coming on this LSD, I'm going into shock because the pain is just incredible. And all of a sudden I feel my friends grab me, by my shirt and pull me up. I looked at them and their eyes were like saucers. Dark black saucers. We were fucked. I mean fucked. Here we are on this big old rock up there. And we had to get down. We had to get me down. They could hardly move. I couldn't move. And it was literally like this scene where, you know, where they come to take Jesus off the cross. You know, as my friends handed me down over this treacherous bridge, you know, that has this hole in it, you know. So I went back there after I got sober in 1987. So, you know, I fell on a rock in 1967, and I went back, and at 50 feet up the rock it says, danger, you know, 6 known deaths. See, 6 people died, you know, climbing this rock, you know. So, seer said I died. I went there in 1970. They said, you died, you own your own creation, you know. I said, okay, well, where was I when I died? You're on these beautiful rocks by the sea. See, that's my angel there. She's holding the world. She's offering the world back to me. See, she's the great Muse. So your work isn't done, John Gregory Prescott. You've got beautiful masterpieces to paint. You've got wonderful poems to write. Here, I offer you the world. I offer you your life back. Take it. See, when I met Rena 3 years later, it was from her. It was a gift from my angel. Here, John. Here's your beautiful muse and playmate for the rest of your life. The things that you two are going to go do together will be magnificent, beyond compare. Four days after my sister died, I was living in Sacramento, thinking about my sister. The sun rose in the east, and a beam of light came off the brass doorknob of my front door and cast a light onto this painting. And there were these gold wings in the back of this angel. Got it? Got it take? Is that a wrap? This is Springfield Johnny. Do you know where your muse is? Take care.